Happy birthday if it's your birthday. Happy played birthday if it's in the past. Happy future birthday if it's in the future. My name is Lime Green, and welcome back to Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask, Episode 3. If you're like, what's going on here? What even is the Out of Time podcast? It's the podcast where I play a game for the first time ever. This is Majora's Mask. Who could have guessed? Last time we played through the Woodfall Temple, and I told you about that. This time we're playing through the Snowhead Temple. That doesn't even seem like a real name. And yeah, so last time we left off, we were told to head north, I believe. And, but last time I also was telling you about a thief in, like, the northern part of, Clock Town. And I was like, I need to know what's going on there. So, before I really did anything, I wanted to find out, because I think, or my thinking process was, I couldn't do anything as Deku Link. Now that I have a sword, I could do something. So I just kind of waited around there for a while. Just kind of ran around. Wasn't really sure what to do. I grabbed the heart piece up there by the slide. Just kind of ran around. Eventually there's this guy that just appeared by the slide. He's like, don't bother me. I didn't even know, or I thought he was just always there. Like, I didn't want to leave or go too far away, because, like, what if something happened? And, I missed it. Eventually, the old lady came back, and the guy by the slide, he turned out to be the thief. I was in cahoots with the thief, and he came out, he robbed the old lady, and then you just had to poke his butt with the sword. And then the old lady gave me the blast mask, which you just put it on, and I guess it works like a bomb where you blow stuff up. And that's cool, I guess. And then she's like, the bomb shop is now open. And then it took me forever to find where the bomb shop is. I found a lottery shop. I found like a poster that said, we're recruiting soldiers. That was kind of a nice little bit of lore. I went inside a trading post. I'm like, is this like a mail thing? Turned out it was a shop. Then I finally found the bomb shop. And the bombs were pretty expensive. And I was like, alright, well, time to, take out a bunch of rupees. You can't take out more than 100 rupees, I found out. And, so I went to go buy the bombs. And lo and behold, the big bomb bag is not a big bomb bag. It's just a bag of bombs, I guess. I was thinking it would be like something from Skyward Sword, where you get a bag of bombs and then you can just pick up bombs along the way. I don't know. I went back to the trading post and almost bought the hero shield. I thought it would be like a better shield. It was not. Good thing I investigated what I had. Uh, then I was about to leave, and then I saw an old friend. It was the scarecrow, like, hidden in the corner. And I was like, what? I couldn't believe it. He's like, if you play this Song of Time backwards, and then play every note twice, you invent two new songs. And then, if you play me a song you like, or whatever, then you make this Scarecrow song, or something. So I was trying to play him one of the songs, the Song of Time backwards, and I messed up, and then he's like, oh, I like that, and then he just disappeared. So Scarecrow's just kind of like the most helpful person ever so far. Just because I've just wanted a song that slows down the time just forever. I'm not really sure how helpful the Song of Double Time will be. Maybe for, how I wanted to speed up the time waiting around for the bandit mission, earlier, like 5 seconds ago. But we'll see if I need anything like that in the future. So I got the Song of Double Time and the inverted Song of Time. And then I was like, well, unless anything else really jumps out at me, I'll just go to Snowhead. So I went there. There was a bunch of slimes. There's ice spikes as a roadblock and snowballs as a roadblock. And here I thought I was, being really cool and awesome, finding out the bombs and the arrows. Apparently, you had to figure out the thing about the bombs. I don't know, maybe there was another way to get to the Goron village without bombs. I don't know, let me know in the comments. You get to this mountain village. Well, first you get to, like, this cabin. And it's just like two people. Then you get to this mountain village full of Gorons, and I have to say, and that kind of blew my mind, because normally the Gorons, they were always like hanging out in like hot magma-y areas with hot springs and all sorts of stuff. But this time they're in like a wintry wonderland, tundra. And this is like a cool dash of expectations. Like, I know they're supposed to be in their normal area, and that's why you have to save them, but this seems so much cooler. There's a mountain smithy who sharpens any sword, and his hearth is frozen over. He needs spring water. Bunch of white wolfos. To get to the actual Goron city, the Goron opens the door by just like slamming down. The Goron inner sanctum is just like Ocarina of Time. The chief is at Snowhead. The baby's just like crying. Here's a shop. And Gapor shows up, and he's like, this land will become a land no living thing can survive. And then he flies away, and his little feathers start falling from him, start like landing on nothing, and that's where you're supposed to jump to. Little invisible platforms. And then you get an item. The Lens of Truth. I thought we were done with the Lens of Truth, and it's just like the craziest thing. You get the Lens of Truth so early. So you jump back using the Lens of Truth to see the invisible platforms. And then you see a ghostly Goron, and then he's like, follow me. And then I lost track of him because I accidentally threw some bombs instead of using the Lens of Truth. And then you follow him up across a river and scaling a mountain, and then he takes you to a Goron graveyard. Now this is just a wild, I guess, chapter, you could call it. And then he's like, I am Darmani the Third. The snowhead monster killed me and buried the Goron village in ice. Can you bring me back to life? Can you heal my sorrows? And I was like, heal my sorrows? Song of Healing. So then you play the Song of Healing, and then he flashes back to when everyone is cheering for him. And then he gives you his mask. And then he's like, read about my legacy on my tombstone. So you go to do it, and it's just a tutorial on how to use the Goron mask. So what you gotta do is push his tombstones out of his way, out of your way, and scoop up some hot spring water in your bottle, and spin away, and then quickly use the hot spring water on places around the world. Down below, you have to melt a different hot spring to refill your bottle, to then defrost the frozen Goron chief down below. And he also thinks you're Darmani. And then he's like, let me teach you the lullaby, the Goron lullaby. And then he teaches you, and then you're like, cool. And then you go play the lullaby for the baby Goron, and then baby Goron calms down, and then 2 torches light. This is the part of the game where I was like, I know what to do. The torches light, so this is a very Ocarina of Time puzzle. And you go around with the Deku stick, lighting all the torches. And then as soon as you do that, you look around and there's like 1 torch not lit. And then it's like, oh my gosh. And then you go to light that torch, and then another torch goes out. And that was the craziest. It's not that crazy, but it's kind of frustrating if you don't do it, especially in the right order. And then you finally get that sword out, and then the chandelier above begins spinning. And, and then I forgot how Goron Link worked. Like, I had it perfectly down, and then apparently my brain stopped working. Apparently you need magic to super spin, because I got super. You can you can drag me over the coals for the torch thing, but I don't know. I feel like I don't really deserve being dragged for the Goron Link thing, because I kept like slowly rolling over like the little ramp, and and then falling down, and then like bro, and then walking up like the 3-story thing, and then slowly rolling up, and then that was brutal. And then I was like, if I don't do this now, I'm gonna run out of time, because it's all timed. Majora's Mask is like timed, and then I think I reset. It was insane. And then I finally got some magic, and then you knock down the rock sirloin, and then you're like, alright, who here is hungry? And no one there is hungry. And you got find the hungry Goron is like way far away, back of the shack. And then you give it to him, and he's like, oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much for playing my game. And then he gives you the Don Garrow's mask, which you can wear it to reunite Frog Choir members, I guess. So that wasn't even like a super main quest thing. And then you're like, what do I do now? And then I just kind of wandered the right way, and it's like a big trail with blowing wind, and so you think, alright, I'll put on the Goron mask. Gorons can't be blown away. Apparently Gorons don't work like the iron boots. And then you're like, well, what else do I have? And then you put on the Lens of Truth, and then it's a giant invisible Goron. And then as wacky as that sounds, it's not gonna be as wacky as the next thing I'm about to say. You have to put him to sleep with the lullaby. Then he goes to sleep, and he falls off the cliff, and then you have to roll up the winding trail to Snowhead itself. Inside Snowhead, it's kind of like a tower of ice and fire. I'll be honest. I liked the game up to Snowhead. It was a very different type of experience. It was very icy. It was very ghostly. Like I said before, normally Goron chapters, they're all like, full of mountains and rocks and lava. It's the hot lava world. But this, it's a nice change of pace. A good mix-up. But then you get to Snowhead, and it's like a fire and ice. It's also a good mix-up. But I guess I didn't like the part where I kept falling to the bottom of the tower. There's just a bunch of platforms. Oh, wait, that's later on. So you go into Snowhead, and then it's like, You have to use your Goron abilities to like spin across and then, you know, punch your way through ice and then like navigate your way up the tower and then eventually go back down the tower and then go back up the tower to eventually, you know, get the boss key. I like this one puzzle where it's like a bunch of platforms where or platform switches where you need Goron linked to Platinum, but then one activates another and then that one activates another. That room was kind of cool. There's the Wizrobe mini boss where I feel like you could have beaten him two ways with Goron Link, where you're just rolling after him and then you punch him. That way was kind of tricky. Or you could just stand as Link and just hit him with arrows. And then after that, you got fire arrows, which I'm kind of like surprised, because in Ocarina of Time, you didn't get fire and ice arrows at the same time. And in this game, I don't think you're gonna get fire and ice arrows at around the same time. So in Wind Waker, like imagine people just losing their minds when you get fire and ice arrows at the same time. You fight two dino flows. They're not really mini bosses, but that was kind of crazy, kind of cool. You fight Wizrobe again. This temple, and I forgot what temple it was called. It requires a lot of like ramp jumps. I don't think the ramp jumps were like the worst part. I mastered the ramp jump back in Goron City, but I guess the worst part was like knowing where to go. Navigating this dungeon definitely was the worst part, but once I figured it out, then I can truly say I appreciate this dungeon a lot more. And then once you get up to the boss, with the boss key that you got from the second Wizrobe fight, you have to punch the tower down with Goron Link, which was, I have to say, one of the coolest ways you get into the boss room, like ever in a Zelda game. There's this giant block of ice, and I was like, is that a giant horse with a horseman on top? And then you unfreeze them with fire arrows, and it's like, no, it's just a giant goat, I guess. And then he just starts taking off, and you have to chase him with Goron Link. And it is just like a mad rush. It reminded me of the Twilight Princess fight with you're on the spinner, the top. Kind of like that. If you know what I'm talking about. So he just kicks rocks at you and bombs. It's not an awfully hard fight. It's more fun than hard, I would say. A very nice mix-up. I can see people's arguments if anyone would like to hate this fight, that's a weird sentence. If anyone would like to hate this fight, because it is not the typical Zelda boss fight, but that's why I think it definitely stands the test of time. But after you beat Goht, he leaves behind a heart container and his remains, and then the Guardians show up, and Tattle is like, "Who are you?" And they're like, "We're the Guardians, duh." And then all the Gorons are like, "We love you, Darmani." And then we don't have the heart to tell them we're not Darmani. And then the little baby Goron is like, "Let's race at Goron racetrack." And then I went there at Twin Island Cave, but there's a huge rock blocking the Goron racetrack, and I put bombs down. It didn't blow up with bombs, and I used the lens of truth, and it was not an illusion, and I punched it, and it didn't break. So we might be getting big bombs later? Question mark? We might be getting bomb arrows? I don't know. And then I deposited all my rupees, and I got the adult wallet, since I deposited more than 20 rupees. And then I went back in time, and apparently the next place we're going is the ocean. Which, it's Great Bay. It's Great Bay, boys. Termina Bay. Let's go. Which I will say the next item we're getting is... What do you think? Hookshot. Or, let me say, hookshot, or... Because hookshot feels too easy. I want to say ice arrows, but just because we have fire arrows. Like some form of boots, like flutter boots or something. I don't think we got any other masks. Or items, yeah. How do you even... The events we got going on are... We opened up the bank loyalty thing. Bank loyalty program 1. So... And, yeah. Other than that, that's life in Majora's Mask. Will there be more, I guess, game after all 4 Guardians? That is the question. I know this game's short, but... I don't really know how short. I'm going to say yes? Question mark. Let me know in the comments. What do you think? Have you played this game? And what do you think about Snowhead Temple? Is it your favorite? And next week I'll definitely come by bringing a whole case of Great Bay Secrets. Until then, I'll see ya next time. Bye bye.